Hello, this is Captain Chaudhari. Today I'm going to talk about the planets in the solar system. As we know, the Earth spins on her axis, and the spin axis is perpendicular to the equinoctial. Right? Equinoctial is the shadow of equator on the celestial sphere. So far from our previous discussions, we know what is equinoctial. Equinoctial is shadow of equator on the celestial sphere. Now the Earth orbits around the Sun, and this orbit is not circular, it is elliptical. It is elliptical with Sun located at one of the foci. This we are going to learn in the Kepler's law very soon. But now this Earth orbits around the Sun, and this plane of Earth's orbit, if we extend this plane of Earth's orbit till the celestial sphere, what we'll get is the plane of ecliptic. So explaining it in a simple diagram, suppose this is the orbit, this is the Earth, right? And the Earth is tilted by about 23.5 degrees, right? It's not perpendicular. The Earth's axis of rotation is not perpendicular to the plane of ecliptic. It is tilted by 23.5 degrees. Now, if we look at the Earth's orbit around the Sun, and if we assume that here is the Sun, and this is the elliptical orbit we are seeing from the side now, and if we assume that over here we have the boundaries of celestial sphere, and if we increase the plane of Earth's orbit around the Sun up to celestial sphere, what we get is the plane of ecliptic. Plane of ecliptic is also a path, the annual path of Sun's journey in the relative motion, that is the annual relative motion of the Sun, right? So what we understand here is there are two planes. One is the plane of equinoctial, which is coplanar to the equatorial plane, and other one is plane of ecliptic, which is in the same plane as Earth's orbit around the Sun. So we will talk about the planets which are important navigationally, right? But before that, in general, let us understand that there are two sets of planets. One set of planets are called terrestrial planets. The 4 planets which are closest to the Sun, they are called terrestrial planets because they have hard surface. So the closest planet is Mercury, which is at 39% of the Earth-Sun distance. Earth-Sun distance is also called an astronomical unit, right? After Mercury, we have Venus. We have Venus on one side and Mars on the other side as our neighbors, right? So Venus, which is on the inner side, which is our inner neighbor, along with the Mercury, is called inferior planet. They're called inferior because their orbits are smaller than the Earth's orbit, right? And the other planets are the superior planets. For example, on our outside, the neighbor is Mars, and next is Jupiter. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. These are the navigational planets along with the Venus. There are 4 navigational planets: Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So out of these planets which are on outside, Mars is the only planet which is terrestrial planet, and the distance of Mars from Sun is about 1.52 times the Earth-Sun distance. That is the astronomical unit. Now Venus, which is the inner neighbor of Earth, is as big as the Earth, but it is the hottest planet, the temperature being about 464 degrees centigrade. Now Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun side, and it is the 5th biggest planet of the solar system. Mars is the 4th planet. It is our neighbor on the outer side. It is the superior planet, and it is a cold, dusky planet. And probably because there is thin atmosphere on the planet, we assume that probably about 3.7 billion years ago there was life on that planet. The giant or Jovian planets in our outer solar system, they don't have hard surfaces. They have swirling gases above a core. Like Jupiter and Saturn are called gas giants, and Uranus and Neptune are called ice giants. These are the planets with multiple moons. As per the last year's record, Jupiter has 95 moons, Saturn has got 146, Uranus has 28 known moons, and Neptune has 16 moons. If I show this to be Sun, and over here I show Earth, and if I draw a line joining their centers, and if I imagine a plane in celestial sphere, which passes through the center of Earth and center of Sun, so this plane must be the plane of ecliptic. I can explain ecliptic this way also. That means ecliptic has to pass through the center of Sun and center of Earth. Mercury is inclined by about 7 degrees, to plane of ecliptic. Mars and Jupiter are inclined to the ecliptic by less than 2 degrees, and Venus and Saturn are inclined by less than 3.5 degrees to the ecliptic. That means mostly these planets, particularly the planets which are closer to the Sun, they're quite close to the orbit of Earth. But the ecliptic is known by Earth's orbit around the Sun. Some very interesting facts are, like Mercury takes about 88 days to revolve around the Sun, and the Venus, which is the second planet from the Sun side, takes 228 days. Now, these inferior planets have to have the orbital period around the Sun less than 365 days. Mars, which is our neighbor, takes 687 days to orbit around the Sun. The orbital period of Jupiter is 11.86 years, and that of the Saturn is 29.4 years. All the planets, they revolve eastward, anti-clockwise around the Sun, as you see from top. And their rotation is also anti-clockwise, except for Venus and Uranus. These two planets do not turn eastwards or anti-clockwise. They turn westwards. Some interesting fact about the Venus is a day on Venus lasts little more than 243 days. 243 Earth days. That means a day on Venus is longer than its sidereal period. There is yet another unbelievable fact about Saturn. Although it takes 29.4 years to revolve around the Sun, right? But to spin on its axis, it just takes 10.7 hours. So the linear speed on the surface of Saturn must be tremendous.